Hi, this is Lori Leisure with To the Trade, and I have Nile Johnson with me. Hi,
Hi, how are
Nile.
you?
There's sunshine outside. I don't know if you can see
I
it, but it's
know, I can.
actual sunshine. I am kind
That's
of
awesome.
like spring fevering over here in New Hampshire, and I'm just ready for like some leaves on trees. It's early for us. We're in March, so I'm not expecting it to be leaves on trees anytime soon, but
Yeah.
kind of hoping. I'm seeing some blue sky out there and it's like 50 degrees and I just can't believe it. It's like the beginning of March. I'm like, this is not
Nice.
real.
Nice. It's warmer there than it is. I don't know if it's still in the 30s, but it was in the 30s here this morning. So,
It was in the 30s this morning. I went for my
okay.
walk outside and it was kind of chilly. I had like a hat and my gloves on for
Yeah,
my
yeah,
walk,
yeah,
but it's really like really nice out right now. I mean, you could go outside without a jacket, which is
yeah,
spectacular.
which I love. Yeah,
I love
yeah.
it. I'm like, I'm dying to get out. I have a convertible, I have a mini, and I'm
Oh,
so waiting to
nice.
like cruise around in my mini, put on some Beastie Boys, remember pretend I'm 15. I love it.
Nice, nice.
So today we're going to be talking trade shows out there for
Yay.
everybody because Niall and I are going to be going to KBIS and we want to talk about why it's kind of a cool thing to do a trade show and what strategies you should have. Because if you don't have a great strategy, I feel like you're not getting the full benefit of the show and you might leave the show thinking, well, that was a big waste of money. And that's not exactly what we'd love our members to do. So we want
Yeah,
to educate you as much as possible, give you some game plans, give you some strategies for any trade show. These will work across the board that
yeah,
will help you, plan it out better. So, Niall, you've been going to shows for a long time. Like, what do
yeah.
you think? Why do you go? Why do you go?
Uh, I'm a hunter, so I like to I like the stuff, you know what I mean? So I love
Like trend
finding
spotting, finding
yeah,
the new
yeah,
thing,
yes. Like I am, the person that a lot of designers will call and say, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. Do you know who has dot dot dot? Or I saw a chair in such and such, but I feel like somebody else has it. Have you seen? Or I'm looking for something like, and I'm like, okay, give me a minute. Or I'm like, give me 2 days, I'll get back to you. Because that's just I love, I love that
you're an
sourcing thing.
encyclopedia of
Yes,
what's out
that's
there in the
my thing.
market.
Yeah, it's funny. It's so funny because I like it was maybe a few months ago and I was like, check this, check that. And somebody was like, how is all of that in your head? How do you keep all of that in your head? And I'm getting to the point now where I have to like have it all, written down. I have to refer to it. But that's why I go. And I remember my first time going, I didn't have a game plan. And that was on purpose, because I just went and got lost. And that is always my advice to people who are going for the very first time. But I couple that with have no expectations. You should go with the only expectation you should go is to be open. But go and allow yourself to get lost. Like have that Costco sort of mentality. Like just go and wander the aisles and just absorb as much as you can because you may not have established relationships with reps or whatever. And so just go and get into the showrooms you can get into and pick up the pamphlets or the catalogs that you can, but really soak up as much as you can and come back with whatever you can and hit the ground running with all that great knowledge and go to as many seminars as you can. So
Absolutely. And I will also throw out too, if you're first time at market, I know Jeannie Chung from Cozy Stylish Chic, if you look her up, she does a first time at market tour. And what I always love about Jeannie is she is a wealth of information about what will make you money. So if you're a brand, and that tour is
nice.
only open to first time and market people. So
Oh,
go
wow.
and sign up for that if you can get a spot because it's really hard to get. But do that anytime goes to market every time and she does this first time in market tour and it's really focused around where can you get low minimums and you can make a good margin on product, because that's really what helps those designers who are first time in market
Wow.
to be able to do. So
Wow. I wish I would have known about that.
I know, right? That's something that
Wow.
is good information to know. And then I also highly, highly recommend, not a first time market, but also a real geared towards making money, is Jackie Von Tobel. She has a great tour too. Look her up. She is mwah, chef's kiss. Love her.
Wow.
And I think that her tour is really good. So sometimes participating in the tours, even if it's a paid tour, the associations do tours, is a good way to like make some friends at first,
Yeah.
but also,
Yep.
you know
Yep.
what? Interior design community is a great place to make some friends too. And
Very
hook
true.
up with your IDC members
Yep.
and try to go to IDC events. We'll be sharing events that are going to be going on um, as we get closer. So I know that Niall's going to be on a panel and I'm going to be moderating a panel. So
Yay.
yeah, so you'll have some great information coming to you soon about what you're going to be needing to do to participate in a good show. So but I'd say the first thing to do is download an app. Download the app.
Yeah.
There's always an app
Yeah.
for these shows now. Download the app. There usually is an exhibitor list online too. Go through the exhibitor list, see who you kind of have interest in seeing. Like go through those websites, look at
Yep.
what is it that I want to see. That's the first thing. And before you do any of that, book your hotel, especially if it's a
Yeah.
High Point. It is
Yeah.
hard to find a good hotel at High Point. Last time I
Extremely
was
hard.
at High Point, I ran into two designers that I'm friends with, and they had gotten their makeup stolen out of their hotel room. Both of them had their makeup stolen out of their hotel. Sounds nuts. Sounds like that would never happen, but that's not the first time I've heard things like that
Is that a
happening at High
thing?
Point.
Do people steal, but is that a thing? Do people steal makeup?
Yeah, apparently. I mean, both of those people, both of them staying at the same hotel, both of them had their makeup bag taken.
And then what do you do with it? What do you do with stolen makeup?
I have no idea because I wouldn't use someone else's makeup. Who knows
That's
if
what
they
I'm
have pink
wondering.
eye or
Like,
something?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so then do you use it? Like, how, does
I
it
would
have a high
hope
street
not.
value? I'm
I
okay.
don't know.
I'm
There's
confused.
some real, we people have very expensive makeup now, Niall. I mean, you look at my little makeup bag,
Oh, I
it could
believe
be
that.
worth like $500-600 just from travel size stuff.
No,
So
no, trust me, I get that. There's face creams and hand lotions out there that are very expensive. I get that. And that I almost feel like is, if it's a cologne or a perfume, that's a little different. But like you just said, like makeup that's going around your eye and your lips,
I
like you
I
don't know
would
what that
never.
person,
I would never, but
no.
I would never steal anything. So I
But
don't
that's
know.
true too. So that, yeah, morals.
You
Right.
know,
Morals. Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
and I'm not saying High Point is known for, hotels that steal from you, because that is far from the truth.
Right.
But the town itself is not a very populated town when High Point is not going on.
Right.
So there's just not, there's not a lot of people stay outside of High Point, and it's really hard to find good hotels, specifically High Point. There are trade shows all over the world, and sometimes it's
Yeah.
easier to find, hotels, good hotels. I know that the what chain went in there, that I think it's like the True Hotels. I like that chain. It's like a Hilton chain. I think they're called True. They're
Oh,
Yeah, they
not
have they
familiar.
have like a funky down, like they're kind of, I think they're kind of
So
mimicking like
are
Citizen
they
M.
mimic? Are they? 'Cause I know Kimpton. Well, it was Kimpton, but well, it's still Kimpton, but it's like IHG now.
Yes.
Uh, it's what Holiday Inn is a part of, and
Right.
I forget the rest of them. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And they
So
have two
I just
hotels
think
there.
find your hotel first, book your
Yeah,
flight first, because those go way, way, way up. And
it's
then
super expensive. Yep,
download the
yep,
app,
yep.
go through that directory, figure out, you know,
L Look at the map.
the map. And
Yeah, yeah,
the app has a great map too. Like you can look
yes.
at like which stops you need to get off, because the last thing you want to do is like, because you can get into one building. It literally has, for High Point anyway, has like a transit system, And if you don't
Yeah.
want to be going beep bop all over the
No.
place, you want to go to one place, get all your stuff done there,
It's so
move.
true.
Because
So true.
I
Don't make the mistake
always,
I made. Yeah.
no matter how hard I plan, I always
Yep.
end up bebopping around. Do you do the
Me
same
too.
thing?
No, I'm the worst. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be in, Hamilton Ren, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta go all the way down to, you know what I mean? So it's like, why did I do that to myself?
I
It's not,
know.
I don't think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't make the mistakes that I make. I make the worst.
Yes, I know.
I have the best parking um spot like ever.
Oh,
I just
where
have
is
to
it?
get I have
I
to
have
get
my
there
own
really
too.
I have to get there really early, but it's the best. And for years there was a lady who ran the place, and I would always look out for her. She's very, very sweet. And then she retired. She did it part-time, and then she retired. But it was, where the sort of behind, gosh, it used to be
Do you pay for
not
it? Is it a paid parking spot?
no, it's free. It's
Okay,
all
so
the whole
mine's a
lot
free
is
spot
free.
too. I'm
The
by
whole
like
lot is
behind
free.
like there's that like cemetery area. I park behind like there's a row of like there's like a little side street and I park there and there's a bus there's a little one of the transit spots is like right there. So I just kind of like
No, this is a
and
block
nobody
from the
parks there. It's like
this is
nobody
a no, no, no. This is really close.
I'm
This is a block from the main building,
oh
from
my
the
gosh, wow.
yeah, right behind. What was the showroom that sat sort of by itself? Stickley. Is it Stickley? Yes.
I think
Was it
so. Yeah,
Stickley?
yeah, yeah.
So right behind there, because it was Stickley, then there's a post office, and then right behind the post office is like sort of an Asian sort of showroom, like an Asian import showroom. And right there they had a huge lot, and that was the only free lot. And so I would park there.
Why not,
And
right?
yeah, but
Yeah.
you got to get there early. If you don't get
You
there early,
got
you're not going to get a spot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Early is key. And that's the other thing is that High Point and that we're concentrating a lot on High Point because we're going to be there soon, but High Point is a little
yeah,
bit of a food desert too. So
yeah.
bring some protein bars if you need them through the day because
It didn't used to be. It didn't use like it used to be. You could do really well at High Point. You could eat. Like I used to tell people, like when I would get students to shadow and I'd take them down to High Point. I'm like, don't just get yourself somewhere to sleep. You can eat at high, like if you're on a budget, you can eat at High Point. Like you'll be able to eat. You'll be fine, right? That
there's
used to be
still
what
there's
I
still food. There's still food,
here
don't
and
get me
there. There's
wrong.
a smattering, right? But it's not
But
like it used to be.
it's
But
not like it
yeah.
used to be. And
No, no,
the
no, no.
press room used to, if you were have a press pass, the press room used to feed you very well too. So
Yeah, yeah,
not so
yeah.
much anymore.
Yeah, no. Now it's like they like yeah, we pulled it back a little bit. It's
Yeah.
like
Well, I
you're
mean,
not
I think it
spending
was
any money. I get it.
everybody was trying to was going over the top. And I think that everybody at the same time, because they want to get you in there. They want to keep you in there, but they don't want you only in there to eat. You
And
know?
what's interesting, all jokes aside, is that one of my reps up here, I can't remember who it was, we were talking about it, and he was saying that there was a shift that, years ago, people went to High Point to buy. You went to market to actually purchase. And he said
Purchase.
what he noticed was that a shift happened, and now people go to market to view. They go to kick the tires. And what happens is orders come in aftermarket typically.
Right.
And so they've had to sort of adjust the way that they do sales and the way that they present because they realize now what they're doing is they are presenting and with the anticipation that the order will come after the presentation, not that people are coming just to buy.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, which
And I
makes
think that's
sense.
most people too. They're scoping everything out, trying to make a plan. And that goes to if you're going for any kind of content, my strategy is take a picture of the showroom out exterior, the sign before and after you take all your pictures because you will lose like who made what so
Yeah,
quickly, so
yep.
quickly. So keep
That's
your
smart. Oh, that's
photos
really smart.
organized. Like
I like
that's what
that.
I do is I'm like, I take a picture of the sign when I go in, then I take all my pictures, and then I take a picture of the sign when I leave. And that just denotes
Oh,
this
that's
happened in this
smart. That's
showroom, you
smart.
know?
Yeah, bookends it. Yeah, that's really smart.
Yeah, yes, because that's what I try to, and I'm not great at it, but I try to organize my photos in the evening and put them into like folders on Google Drive. Like this was the showroom, this was the showroom, this any
Oh,
notes that I
nice.
make because I try to make notes
Nice.
everywhere I am. In
Nice.
my Apple Notes, like I'm in the showroom. This is, this is
Yeah.
the contact. Here's the information. Here's somebody I need to, might take a picture of their business card. I might take a picture of something in their flyer. I try not to bring stuff home with me, like things like
Wow.
I try as much as back in the first time I went, I would any of the shows, I would go as press. So they would give you a box. Like I'm
Yep.
talking a huge box and you
Yeah.
would put all of this stuff in the box and they would mail it back to you. And I'm
Okay.
telling you, it was so anxiety ridden for me to have a box of paper that, essentially, like business cards and flyers and catalogs. And I'm just like,
Stuff.
it's
Yep.
just this is true. This is insanity. And it's half of it's going to get thrown away. And they've spent so much money on this. I don't want to take it if I don't think I'm going to use it.
Yep.
And I'd rather take a real picture, a real video, something that's tangible. And you and I being there, we're gonna take so many videos together. It's
Yeah.
gonna be so fun. So many pictures. It's gonna be so great. But yeah, you have to go and have that strategy of like what kind of content, because a lot of times a designer, especially for first time at market, you don't have a lot of projects. Sometimes it's a great way. These are your copyright free photos too that you're taking.
Yeah.
You can take pictures of yourself, sitting in the furniture.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. Yeah. I
can
mean,
take
it's
opening
a
a
great way to,
drawer,
yeah, it's a
video
great way. Yeah, to get yourself
content.
ex some content because you don't have any, like you said, you don't have any projects, you don't have
Yeah,
anything,
yeah,
it's I never thought of that. And well, I'm dating myself now, but that wasn't such a huge thing when I first started,
right,
like,
right.
what there was no Instagram. So it's like, you know what I mean? Oh my God, I'm really dating myself now. But that wasn't a thing. There was like cool content. What's that? So like it was just go and look around.
Yeah.
And now I'm really dating myself. There taking pictures was like a no-no.
Oh,
Like
there's still some places still is.
some places still, there's very few though that are still like stuck in that mentality, but there's more, I'd say the majority of them want you to take pictures because they want that social media exposure. But
Right.
this is back when it was like a lot of them were like, do not take pictures in here. Don't take
Yeah.
pictures in here.
Yeah.
It was like if you took your phone out to take pictures, they were really angry with you.
Yes.
So
Oh,
I
and
just,
speaking of that, do yourself a favor if you do organize those pictures into a folder on Google Drive, put also the handle of that company in the folder too, so that you
see, you're so
remember how
so
to
smart.
tag them because
That's
you
so
do
smart.
want to tag them when you use it, right? So
See, that's why my camera roll is like at 150,000 unorganized pictures. It's like
I have this
ridiculous.
weird strategy for getting rid of photos. Every month out. Sometimes I won't do it, so I do forget it. But you can search on iPhone for the month. So it's very overwhelming to declutter for all of your pictures, right?
That's
So I'll
right. That's
just
right.
type in February, right? And I will go through and I will delete anything because I do a lot of social media. So a lot of my stuff is like use it once,
Yep.
it's gone. All of those lovely questions of the day we do, all of those memes,
Yes.
I
Yes.
use
Yep.
them once, they're done. I don't ever
And
repost them. So I
okay.
get rid of it. All of that stuff has to get off my phone. And so I will type in the date that, February or January, and then I get rid of everything. And it doesn't take that. You can just like select and you go, okay, these are not personal. These are not keepers. This is like junk,
Yeah.
screenshots of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And then that's how I get rid of that's how I do
I
it
gotta.
because it's small
I
bites, of disorganizing. And the other tip, this is off topic as well. I also use birthdays on Facebook to get rid of people I never talk to. Like if it's their birthday and I'm like, oh, I literally never talked to this person and they never talked to
happy bir-
me and happy birthday. You're no longer
happy
friends with
birthday to
me.
you. Goodbye. Happy birthday to you. Goodbye. I love that. That is good. That's good. Wishing you many more. Goodbye. I love that. That is really good.
It's
I love that.
manageable. Make it
Yeah.
manageable for yourself.
But you
These
know
are
what? I'm an
the tips.
overthinker. I'm an overthinker. And because I was on looking up like, I think there's like a life hacks thread on Reddit talking about like basically what you're saying. They were
Yeah.
even saying do it by the day. What happens is I'll get in there and there'll be 25 pictures of a sofa, the same sofa that I took. I was in the showroom at High Point and I took the same picture of the same sofa. And because that's just how I think. I won't just take one picture of the sectional, I'll take 20 because I got to make sure I get the right angle. And then I know the one that I have is the right angle and the other 19 can go, but I will obsess for 20 minutes about getting rid of the 19. And then 20 minutes has passed and now I'm late because I got to go pick up the kids from school. And so it's a whole thing. So the 19 never get deleted. And then I add 19 more of another chair. So it's like a whole thing. And then now we're at 150,000 pictures. You see, my life is a mess, right? That's just the way things go.
Well, we're not allowing you to do that anymore.
I know I'm going to work on it.
Delete
I'm
the
going to work.
19 picture.
All right, I'm gonna do it.
Let
I'm
it
gonna do it. I'm
go.
gonna do it. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Make
yeah.
room for 19 new pictures.
That's
That's
right.
what you have to
That's
think
right.
about it. Is like,
No, it's
I'm going to get
true.
rid of this junk because I'm going to be bringing in new junk.
New junk. That's right. Gotta receive. Gotta receive. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So that I would also say, like you all mentioned doing those awesome seminars
Yep.
and seeing speakers, and I would look at what's going on in the calendar for speakers and what is it that you really would like to get out of it too, you
Yeah.
know, and can you go with like a couple of friends? If you are the only designer, can you hook up with somebody else? You reach out to us, if we will hook you up with somebody or you can come and hang out with us. It's so much better if you have some friends to hang out with
It
while
is.
you're doing it, because then you're just not feeling like you're aimlessly wandering around by yourself. You have someone to help you take a picture or take a little video of you
Yep.
and
Yep.
get your
Yep.
content that you need to get, as many videos as you possibly can, because I think videos are the thing that drives right now. So fun little interactive. And remember, these are products that anything that you have if you have an account with them, these are all products you sell. So even if
Yeah.
they're not for your client, they might, for social media, be someone who might love that. So,
Oh yeah.
think about it as like, I have to take content here to sell product, for my social media channels, for my business. You can have like, these are the roundups. I'll give you some pricing on any of these things afterwards. I think that's a heck of a lot more valuable. As soon as High Point's over or any of the trade shows over, I see so many designers doing a blog post about these are the trends from the show. I'd rather see these are the things you can buy today.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things you can buy from me. You know,
Yep. These are things that I love,
these are the
you
things that
know,
I love, and
and
I can
you
sort,
can,
here's the
yeah.
prices on all of it.
Yep.
Be
Yeah.
transparent with it. Here's
Oh
what my
yeah.
price is for this sofa, this chair. I love this rug. Here's the price for that. You know, contact me, I'll get this ordered for you.
Yeah.
Why not utilize it? You're there, you've taken the photos, you've made the contacts, you have the account with that brand. You have an audience of your own that you're building through social media or through your blog or whatever. You might as well maximize that by, and
And
I think it shows your personality too. I love
yeah,
to
and
see people being
consumers.
playful.
Yeah, and consume at this point, I mean, from my experience, consumers, clients know, I mean, through the social media grapevine that High Point is happening or Atlanta market is happening or Dallas market is happening or whatever. And so they are attuned to that and they are watching your stories and watching your timeline. So they get, from my experience, they get just as excited as we do about the stuff. And so if they can get in on the action, they will,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
So
You
yeah.
could have like, and it's usually seasonal based too. So these are the cool things for spring. Hey, you're doing, and start thinking about that strategy wise too. What are your clients going to be buying in the next, year or the next few months? Like, I think that outdoor furniture, if we're going to High Point Market, is something that like you should be going after, is finding outdoor
Yeah.
furniture resources, because if you're a spring market, what can you source for your clients, that your past clients too. You could send them, here are some great new, because spring, outdoor furniture goes so fast too, like all the all the cushions
That's
get
what,
bad, and
yeah,
we
that's
all
what
want
I
a new
thought
look
too.
outside. It's
Like
like,
people want to get out. People want to get out. I thought of like outdoor furniture and like home office furniture because it's like if you've been
yes,
inside, people want to get out and they want to get organized, right? So
yes,
it's usually like things to make them efficient and things to sort of get them outside. So I agree with you.
yeah,
The
yeah,
outdoor furniture and any sort of like home office furniture to help
right,
them, declutter and organize. I think that's what people be looking for, come
yes.
spring. So yeah.
And look at all the fun, the fun prints too. Like sometimes we want a
Yes.
little color, a little, how can I
Yes.
add some accessories
Yes.
into the mix to
Yes.
make
Yes.
me feel like got the winter blues are gone, and I want to something
Exactly.
bright, something fun.
Yes.
Give me some color. And I love when designers share things like that, not just like here are trends. I mean, it's nothing bad with trends. Trends are
Right.
great, but usually those trend reports look a lot of similar because they are, the most editorial pieces that were released. So it will be, a really splashy like wallpaper, or a really cool shaped chair, or something along those lines. Like these are the, something that's just very specific, instead
Yeah.
of like much more like, instead of like this is very forward thinking, instead of that, maybe thinking about like, this is what would my clients want, like
Right.
what, not just for a specific client you're working with, but like all of the clients. And you could do an email blast after the show, and that could really be the like part of what you're getting the content for. You're partly getting it for social media, you're partly getting it for this email blast you're going to do after, and say
Yeah.
you're going to
Yeah.
partly
Yeah.
doing it for a blog post that you're going to
Yeah.
put out there, to get people like interested, past clients thinking, oh, he's got some new things,
That's
oh,
smart.
it's like one thing they have to see, and they'll be like, oh, wow, we're redoing our beach house. Like, we should call
Yeah.
Nile,
That's
like,
smart. That's really smart. That's
yeah,
smart.
yeah,
Yeah. And then like I mean even I think it's like I think it's Mindoma that has like you can tag the photos like if you
yes,
put the little so like if you take the picture you can put the dots on the photo and they can hover over the photo and see like that
yes.
whole thing can sort of work together. I think
Ugh,
that's such a great idea.
I love
Oh,
it. I
I'm
love
on
it.
it. I'm on it.
Yes,
I'm
write it
on
down.
it.
You're not supposed to take notes on our own podcast.
I know. I'm like, I know. Well, that's the thing. I was going to tell you, like the past episodes, I'm like taking it all in. I'm learning so much. I'm like, I'm not really asking a lot of questions because it's like an education for me.
It
I'm
is
taking all
such
this,
an,
all the,
when you get a chance
yeah.
to talk to an attorney, I mean, Wendy was such a great,
Oh my gosh.
oh, great.
Everybody. I was just like, I get off, I get off, of the call and I go upstairs and I'm like, it was so good. I learned so much. And my kids are like, really? I'm like, yes, it was so good.
I know I've referred her now to like 15 designers, because everybody was like,
She was, oh my gosh,
oh my
man.
gosh, she's so fantastic. And I love there being an attorney who's approachable and actually cares about design. She actually likes design.
Yeah,
So I
that
love,
was
I
the thing
love,
for
love,
me.
love
Like
that.
that was the thing. She cared. You could tell. It
Yes.
wasn't, she was not blowing smoke. She was not, she was not trying to collect a paycheck. She genuinely cared. And the thing that she said that made like the little hairs on the back of my neck stand up was when she said, you have to have your own process. You have to figure out what your process is because if you are following somebody else's process, you will always be behind. And I was like, whoa. Oh, that
Right.
like you could have knocked me over with a feather when she said that. Because she's right. Like she was
Yeah.
so right. I was like,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah.
I really like the arbitration thing. That was my favorite part. Like,
Yes,
how
yeah,
amazing is it that you could like save yourself some bucks by, so the deal that she was talking about was like, put in your contract that any disagreements, like if it does go to, a disagreement, disagreement, it has to go through arbitration rather than mediation or court. And the reason is you can hire a professional, who, like an attorney or a past judge, who knows construction, and they will understand what you guys are disputing about, and it keeps it out of the public. And you should also have a clause in there that no one can say anything nasty. So no bad reviews,
Which is great.
which is
Which is
great,
great.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Which is
legal,
great.
you can even write them when they do a bad review on Google and say, here, look at your contract. You're not allowed to give me a bad
Yeah.
review.
Yes.
Sorry.
Which is great. Yeah,
Please
which is
take it down.
awesome. Yep.
I love it.
Get
I
rid
love
of it. Yep.
Yeah, but I hope you're enjoying these podcasts because we're having a lot
Oh
of
my.
fun with them, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's incredible. It really,
y-
really is.
yes, yeah. And so trade shows, I think, it's something I can understand how a designer who goes there without a plan might feel like it might not be the best use of time. And that's really what we're here to talk about, because it's like I don't want you to go and come back and feel like it wasn't worth the investment. I know it's costing
Yeah.
you not only the money that you're investing to go to the show, but
Yeah.
also the time away from the office, and you're coming
Right.
back and there's like double the work the next week trying to catch
Yeah.
up on all the things while you're away. And if you are a big enough firm where you're bringing other people because you want to educate them and get them to be able to see shows and understand how the system of everything works, it's just can be a very big investment. And so going with a really strong strategy and making sure that you have good connections will make it so much better for you. And I
Yeah.
will say, like, one of the designers mentioned, it's really hard to go to some of these trade shows because there is a lot of like alcohol flowing and stuff if you are sober. And it was kind of
Mhm.
like, oh, maybe there does need to be
Wow, never thought about
some,
that.
and I do know that there was a designer that was doing AA meetings at High Point, and that I don't think that's going on as much anymore, but it's, figure out what the good strategy is for yourself. And,
That's a really good
you
point.
know,
Wow, never thought about
remember
that.
that there is like a lot of like not everywhere, but there's a lot of like meet up for champagne, meet up for a glass of wine, meet up for, you know,
No, and I mean, and to think, I mean, I that just goes, I appreciate that because it just puts things back into perspective because it's very easy to get caught up in your own stuff and forget
yes,
that you're not just it's not just all about you,
no,
and there are other people that are in your orbit, right? And so
yes,
because me it's all about like, okay, we're gonna meet at the Four Hands bar, right?
right, right,
But everybody's not there, and so
no,
I appreciate that because that is their story is just as equally as important, if not more,
yes,
than mine. Because guess what? I can get a glass of red wine when I come back home,
right,
right? I don't
right.
have to get one in High Point. It's
Although it's
critical.
nice, although it's
It's nice. It is nice, but it's critical.
if
If
it's
you
something you can,
can,
yes,
right? But for someone who is sober and
yeah,
doing that walk, it is critical for them to be able to continue that while
yes.
they're in High Point, right?
Right.
There is
Have
no
have
there
the
is
same
yeah,
opportunities, have the same ability
exactly.
to
Yep. Yep.
meet and not get a, like, as this designer said, a warm bottle of water, so
They
if
should
you're a
be
brand listening, mocktails.
yes,
They're becoming
please.
very popular
They really
in
are.
every restaurant that I'm going to. So
Yep.
maybe a few mocktails wouldn't be, maybe a few health drinks wouldn't be the worst thing in the
Yep.
world. Sometimes it's like I've been walking all day and I need to hydrate too, so something that's like got some vitamins or some minerals or something wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It doesn't always have to be cold wine,
No.
or red wine or
Mm-mm.
whatever. I'm careful about the
No.
reds because I'm like, I don't want to get much.
Oh,
I don't want to have that
I
red wine smile because my teeth are
I'm
like,
a I like red in the cold months. It's
yes.
weird. And then I
Oh,
like
I do too. I love
white
red.
in the summer. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
family used to own a wine shop, so I'm a big wino.
Oh, okay.
I love wine.
Me too. Me too.
And there are some great restaurants too, outside of High Point as well. So just make some reservations if you hadn't,
Yep.
but try to find out where everything is going on at these shows. And it's not just at High Point, but at KBiz, at any of the markets. Find out what events are going on. Fill up the evening, like the meals portion of the evening, because there's always little parties here and there to figure out
Yep.
where you're going to eat where you want to be around people, where you want to, it's kind of a, you know, a job to plan it. That's the thing is you can't really go in without
A plan.
some
And you
sort of
have
like
and you have
act.
to know what that is. I know a
Yeah.
designer that told me, she said that, and I was like, that's genius, that she gets there on like Thursday-ish, Thursday or Friday-ish. They kind of pregame a little bit. But basically, Saturday is Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Hmm.
is marketing and networking.
Right.
She That's all it is, right?
Hmm.
And then because she said that's when most of the parties and all that stuff happens. She said, and then Monday and Tuesday is work. That's when
Yeah.
she works for like clients. She has showroom appointments because a lot of people leave after the weekend and go
Yes.
back home.
Right.
And I was like, that's genius. I never thought about it that way. So she says she blocks it that way, because when she wasn't doing it that way, she was getting really upset because she felt like she wasn't being productive.
Right.
And I thought, well, that's kind of smart. That's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
smart. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you need to find spots, I mean, the Wi-Fi isn't in these area it isn't always the best, but you find spots where you're going to have client conversations. You're going to have home
Yeah.
conversations. Like that's just going to be part of it. So
Yeah.
find your little areas to work within the showroom. There's usually a little corner you can kind of like
Oh,
set
yeah.
up, and if you need to quickly get on your phone and text
Send an
people,
email,
send an
have a phone
email.
call. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, do what you got to do, but and then I would say the other thing is meet people on the shuttles. The shuttles are usually kind of fun. I think the shuttles are kind of fun. I try to chit chat with somebody every time I get on the shuttle. Uh just because I think it's another place to meet somebody you don't know, you know? I mean, where else are you getting so many like-minded people in one area? You know, I mean, the chances are
True.
you're going to be friendly with somebody there because they're all in the design industry. So
That's okay. That's a good way to look at it.
yeah, yeah. I'm more of an extrovert than you are though, Niall.
You are very much so, because as soon as you said shuttle, I was like, okay, well,
I there can be really fun. I've had some of the best conversations on the shuttles. I
no,
will
no, I totally get it. That's just me. That's just me. I'm like,
No, I don't blame
okay.
you. Not everyone's as crazy as I am, who will just sit next to a stranger and be like, "Hey, so what are you doing here?"
No, I love people who can do that. Like, my oldest, she can do that. She's very outgoing. I wish I was that way. I sit back and people watch, and I admire the person who can genuinely do that. I wish I could do it, and the reason I don't do it is because it would come off as um disingenuine. It would sound fake, and so I don't. But that's the one superpower I wish I had, right? And so I love it. I cannot do it. And so yeah,
I'm with you sometimes. I mean, I do have my moments where I'm just like, okay, I need to decompress. Like
yes,
these
yeah.
shows can be emotionally zapping for anybody.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah,
you can be at the end of the day, like, I have smiled my quota today. I
yeah,
have
yeah.
talked to enough people. I'm not a big bullshitter, so a lot of my
Me
stuff isn't
either.
like
Yeah.
fake or like, oh my God, I love you and I don't love you. I'm not that
Right,
person.
right, right,
If I don't
right,
like
right.
you and you're at the show and I see you, I'm gonna be like, I'm out of here. Like, you'll see my
No,
like you just see
yeah,
like
yeah.
a trail and
So,
I've disappeared.
yeah. No,
But
I get that. I get that.
but I do like, why are you here? What are you doing? I'll meet some interesting people that are just in the industry, but a different way than I am, or they're funny, or they've got, different plans than I did, and something sounds really interesting to me. So it's just
That's
another way to
cool.
kind of like figure out what someone else is doing and see if your plans and what you have planned, is good too. Like, oh, I have good plans. I have better plans than them, or you should come to my thing, or
Yeah, no,
or they
no,
have better
I
plans
think
than
that's
you.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I get it. I
I
get
I
it.
think that while it's good to have a plan, it's also good to be flexible. That's mainly what I'm trying to
Agreed.
say with that, you know, like, because
Agreed.
you never know where it's going to take you. Like last time I went to market, I went to a party actually for my Doma and we hung out. And then a bunch of us went to the brewery. I think it's like the Brown something brewery in town. And we all got food there and we laughed and we joked and we had music and we were drinking some more. And it was really, really, really fun. So you have to allow yourself to, you know, let it guide you a little bit too.
Yeah.
And see where the day can take you because sometimes, those like impromptu things are the most fun. In
Yeah,
fact,
the
I was
best.
I was talking to
Yeah.
Sarah and she was like, that was more fun than anything else. Like
Yeah, see, I
than the
always tell
expensive
people
party we
it's
planned.
like going to Disney World, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's the expectation you should have. If I tell
Yes.
people if you've ever been, don't go in thinking you'll get to do everything,
You won't.
but go in being open to anything.
Sure.
And if you have that mindset, you'll have the best time, you
Yes,
know?
yeah. And
Yeah.
if you are willingly, allow yourself, even if you are an introvert, to try to meet some people, try to meet some
Yes.
people, make
Yes.
sure that you make some connections there too, because there are some really amazing designers that go. And I want more of the brands to, because it's such a slog between like designers and the stocking showrooms and all of that stuff. And I would really love the design community to band together. We feel that interior design community, we're kind of like the sorority fraternity of the design world. And we want, everybody in the community to feel like they're friends and they can get together. We did it for the last show I went to. I was just at KBiz. We did a group text with a bunch of designers and we were able to like use that group text. We went to a dinner that was hosted by a brand. Then we went to I had another champagne event. So I was like, hey, there's a champagne event here. A bunch of designers came to that. Um,
Nice.
and then the last night we met up with Luann Nagara, who does that great podcast. And we ended up talking there too. So uh it's a good way to like connect with people too. So grab phone numbers. Don't be shy. Just
That's
if you need
true.
to
That's
grab some
true.
phone numbers from your friends, the people you've been talking to online and social media. I know on interior design community, so many of you write a great comment and then have another comment under it. Go and message that person and say, hey, I saw you're going to go to High Point. What's your number? Let's hang out. Let's connect,
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
don't be afraid because it's great. Once you feel like you have your little tribe, it's so much better to go to market when you feel like you're connected to it rather than
Yeah.
you're like this person looking around, overwhelmed by everything, and you feel more, sometimes that's isolating in itself, I think.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. And then you don't move forward.
Right.
You
Right.
just sort of feel like, because I remember going in the beginning alone, and I mean I had people with me, but they weren't designers, and I felt like I still allowed myself to move around, but I didn't feel as empowered, for lack of a better term, as
Right.
I do when I go and I have other people, or I know that there are going to be other people there that I
Right.
know. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
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 And that's sometimes that takes a while to do. You get in there the first year and then you meet people and then the next year those people and you meet new people and then by the time you've been going to different markets or different trade shows and a lot of times the same people will go to, I have groups that like I went to KBiz and now I'm going to High Point and some of the same people are going to both,
I'm gonna go. Yeah.
so
Which is
it's
nice.
it's
Yeah.
those kinds of things too where you will see the same people sometimes at different shows, which is great, but you're kind of like broadening your circle and getting to know more and more people so that you feel more and more comfortable with it as a total and you're going to walk in. I mean, I think of High Point as like a little mini Vegas. It's kind of got these big buildings and they're just
Yeah.
these temporary showrooms and some of them are open full year round. Um, and it's more, and even in the big, like the big trade show, like KBiz and stuff like where there's so many buildings and you have to get from one space to the other space. it can make you feel like there's just all there might be 100,000 people around you, but if you don't have know anybody, you don't feel like you belong, and so I
Yeah.
don't want that to be the case. We're very open with interior design community. If you don't have anyone to go with, we're going to find a buddy for you, or you can come and hang out with us, and you're going to have
Yeah.
a good time. It's going to be a great show. I want everybody to have a good time when you go to a trade show. I want you to all hook up with each other and get to know each other and talk about real stuff, not just design too, like real life stuff too, because
Which is
that's,
important.
yeah, because we're all
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And
Absolutely.
it's so great to like some of that stuff is my favorite when I come back from a show. It's also the conversations I had that were not even, sometimes there were business problems or stuff, but sometimes it's like the personal stuff,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
singing along to a song with your friends and doing a little dance.
Yeah.
you know, Sometimes it's that,
Yeah.
it's really a great way to connect with other people in the industry and build those bonds because you can do that online very, very well. I mean, we're never been more connected in this industry than we are now. And that is a really wonderful thing. But it also, those in-person conversations and those
Oh,
in-person
yeah.
meetings, they bring it to the next level. Then
They
it's
really
not
do.
just like, hey, that person I see online, it's that person I gave a hug to, that person
Yeah.
I know their
Because you're like,
family
I like
story.
them, I like them online, and then you meet them and you're like, "Oh, I really like, it's like, I really like them, you're a lot of fun.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
One person that I met over when I was at KBiz, I was saying like, "Oh my God, you are so great." She's like, "You are so great." And we were both like it was like back and forth. It was like, "You're better in person." No, you're better in person.
No, you are. No, you are.
I love that. Those moments are like when and that's the wonderful thing about design is that I think when I came into this industry, I was kind of naive. I think that there was this impression, and I came from the fine art world.
Mhm.
So the fine art world is has its own drama and intrigue. But I think that in design, there was this idea that, designers are aloof or, you know, they are not as approachable.
Mm,
And I've just not found that to be the case,
yeah.
with the designer, at least maybe the designers in our community,
No,
but
it's just not. I
never.
don't. I don't think
Yeah,
that's the case. I don't think that's the case with most designers. With most, and I'm not going to get on my soapbox, but I don't think that's the case with most real designers, people who are really in it for what we get into design for. What people experience as aloofness or standoffishness is really vulnerability because it's art. And what art is an expression of yourself. And when we are extending the creativity, to the client or to whoever, it's like, do you like it? But do you like me?
right,
Because the two are not you cannot separate the two. And
right,
so when we are presenting, do you like the presentation? But underneath all of that, do you like me? Because
right.
it's connected to us. And
It
as much as
is.
we try to separate it, we're invested. And so what people think is aloofness or like standoffishness, it's not. It's really we are on pins and needles and we're just really hoping to make a really good impression because we really love what we do and we put our heart and souls into every project that we take. So I think
Right.
that's what it is. I think that's what it
Yes.
is, really. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you will, and honestly, I think when, to further that point too, is that design too is also a collaboration with the client. And so many, and it's what I think what makes designers maybe a little bit nervous about the work is too, it's a compromise vision too.
Yes,
It's their
that's
vision, but it's a
true.
compromise vision. It's not like
That's
you're
true.
an artist who's painting has total freedom to use whatever color you want. You
Right.
can't use whatever
No,
color you want. So
no.
it's an artist, but an artist in handcuffs,
That's true.
like
Which, technically I don't.
Sometimes that handcuffs budget. Sometimes
I
that
don't mind.
handcuffs
It's just
taste.
budget. And I don't mind. I always tell clients I don't mind that. Like
No,
I don't mind it as long as because I need boundaries. I don't want you to think that I'm the designer that's like, oh, there's no budget and there's no do what you want. Because honestly, I'll never get back to you because I would overthink that. So I need boundaries, but I need you to have boundaries and then realistic expectations attached to those boundaries. Don't tell
exactly.
me the budget is $10,000 and then you want a house that looks like Madonna's. Like that's not going to happen. Like we
Yeah.
just can't. We have
Yes.
to have a meeting of the minds.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And
So,
and follow the designers. If you're just listening and you're not a designer, follow the designer's plan, please, because
oh
you're
my
going to be
gosh.
so much happier with the end
Ugh,
result. Don't let your cousin or your sister or your mother or your
oh my
brother
God.
or whoever tell you to change things, or even the contractor, frankly. I mean, have you seen contractor grade houses? Come on.
Ugh.
Like a designer really cares, and that's the thing is like you can go into I mean, I've been in so many multi-million dollar homes that either didn't have a designer or they didn't have the right designer, or the contractor, it was contractor, and they're beautiful homes. They're not like not well done,
Hmm.
but no plan,
No,
no plan. And a lot of like, if I can stand in one spot and I can see five different kinds of flooring, that's not a good thing. You know what I mean?
no. We're not well thought out at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. If the
Yeah.
colors don't work from this room to that room, and it's those plans that designers are letting you do. And that's why it's really great when a client will allow a designer the freedom to, you know, and that's hard because it's like so much of it is budget. But like even if you are like, if you're going to work with a designer and you want to work on one room in your house, let's just say that's your plan. I highly encourage you to pay the design fee for more than that, like as much of your house as you can. Because even if you don't tackle that, even if it's like financially out of your goals for right now, I think really smart budgeting plan is just to come to a designer and say, give me something fairly forward thinking, timeless, meets my needs plan. If you're in a budget mindset and you have to do a budget, give me a plan for everything. And then
Mm-hmm.
we execute as I can do it. We
Hmm.
execute this room and that room and then this room and that room. If you're not doing home remodel,
Yep.
and a lot of designers aren't, I mean, I have a ton of designers who do, but I have a ton of designers who are not.
Yep.
It's the idea of having cohesive plan. So you're not designing this room, then designing that room in 4 years, and then designing that room in 4 years, and everything still feels like it's not cohesive.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't, who knows if you're in the same place and then you're trying to remember. And that's so great that you say that because I always say to clients, listen, if we're just doing the first floor, fine, but let's have a conversation about what your hopes and dreams are
Yeah,
for the rest of the home. Because what I want to know, what I want to do is when we walk out of the door and say goodbye, I want to know that you are set up to have a cohesive home
right,
once this is all done, like once the whole house is done. I
right,
would hate to make this candy apple red down here, and your plan is to have, muted neutrals upstairs, and then we've got a problem,
right,
right?
right,
Everything
right.
doesn't flow or whatever the case
Right.
may be,
It's
right?
so true
So
though. And a lot of it's these surfaces too. Like if you're putting a new flooring downstairs and it doesn't work with the flooring and the paint schemes and the hardware, the cabinetry, things like
just
that.
thoughtfulness,
Thought
that's all.
thoughtfulness is
I was
really,
downloading like Aaron's Aaron Stetzer, I'm gonna get it wrong. But I love her, like she's the builder down in Texas. Aaron Stelter, Aaron Stetzer.
oh
Anyway,
yes,
very
yes, yes. Aaron Setzer. Yes, that's
love.
yes.
So I was like downloading her like the QR codes to all her like her reels, and I was sending them like, see, this is thoughtfulness. This is thoughtful design.
That's
This
what
this is
I've
what
been
I'm talking
setting.
about. I'm
I
like,
put
it
it into
exists. It
the
exists.
community because I was like, this is what you guys need to be copying, because I hear from, this is so off topic, but designers all the time are like frustrated with influencers that come into the industry and all they are doing is they're not designers. They just kind of like they have
Yeah.
time you don't have because they're not
Yeah.
designing. So they're
Yeah.
just sharing other people's work and they're aggregating work and putting it out there. And designers will get so upset about it. And sometimes these influencers get actual deals, like they'll get licensing deals or they'll get,
Yeah.
and of course you can imagine a designer's like, are you serious? I design. You did a licensing deal with this influencer? Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like, but they don't have the numbers that designer, that influencer has. They
That's
don't
right.
have the audience because their job is influencing, not
That's right.
designing. So they have a lot
That's
more
right.
time to do that well than you do.
That's right. That's
Um,
right.
and they built the audience, and that's fair. In my opinion,
And to
that's fair.
be, and it
It's
is
work
fair, and
too. It's just a
it's
different
work.
kind of work.
It's a
Yeah.
different, and to be fair, influencing is different. Well, at least the kind that I've seen. Like I think it's at home with Savvy. Like what he does is not what I do, and he's really good at it. Like he has a way of presenting this lifestyle brand to the camera that you're just like, oh my God, is that how you make a bed? Is that how you like, fix a cup of tea or tea? And like it's like I can't do that. And I
Yeah.
remember like years ago styling freelance for QVC, and I went in and I'm styling like I would design a room, and it fell flat on camera. And they're like, yeah, because you can't design like that. You don't design for camera or for the television like you do a home. And that's when I started to have respect for influencers or people who do things for, show or for the
Editorial. Yeah. Yeah.
editorial, because it is different. It is different. Like, when Frank Francis and his team came in to photograph, like I'm thinking, oh, the room looks great. And then the stylist does some things, and it's like, oh, now the room looks great. And it's just a few touches, but my brain doesn't turn on that way because I'm designing the room for the client to live in. They're setting the room up to be photographed. So I think the same thing for influencers, like you're saying,
Yeah.
it's different work.
It's
It's
different
just
work and
different
it's
work.
valid, but it's different
Yes,
work. But
it's
I what
different.
I will say is that what can separate you from that influencer is they're not designing houses.
No,
So they're not going to have that kind of content that she has, where she's talking about how she paints the top of the pocket door black
that's
because it
right.
disappears. You know that information.
That's right.
You know that kind of information an influencer who doesn't work with design every day and isn't thinking about these little minute details that you think about every day,
That's right.
so you have different content and different thing. I personally really love when designers share that stuff. I've been saying it for years. I'm like, why aren't, sharing a profile picture is a portfolio picture is great, but like share the stuff that it took to get there. I remember a designer years ago, and I bring up the story because it's just such a great story. And she was like, I have this material that we use often. Like, I really love this fabric, and you cannot uh have the workroom hem it, because if you do, it just will not lay perfectly. And I don't want my clients to think that I don't want them to hem it and then come in and fix it, because I don't want them to think I made a mistake. So what I do is I have the workroom come in on site with this particular fabric, and I have them hand hem it. And I was like, first of all, that is an amazing story, right? And
Yeah,
you
and
standing
that's
in front of that curtain and saying that. And how amazing is that? Because like who would know what that fabric would do? I mean, anybody who doesn't work with that fabric all the time wouldn't know that.
right.
Wouldn't know
Right.
that that's what you do and
Right.
wouldn't also what it also is telling your audience or your potential next client is, I think of things to alleviate your worries.
Yeah.
So
And
that
on top of that, all of that, that's the quintessential interior designer like story. Like
it is.
even it's like I have your draperies hand hemmed on site. Like that is like
Right.
quintessential. And like you
Isn't
have to
it?
document that. Yeah, it's
Yes.
amazing. That's
Yes. And that's the
amazing.
things that designers think of. They think of these
Yeah.
little minute details that if you didn't, if I walked like to Erin talking about the black and how she paints the black, if it's a pocket door, she paints the top black so it
Yeah, yeah,
kind of
yeah.
disappears. Like
Yeah.
if I walked through that room, because I'm not a designer, I would be like, I just wouldn't notice. But that's the
Right.
point. The point is you're not supposed to notice it,
Right.
you know?
Right. Right.
And that's how designers think about everything. Every like
Yeah.
little minute detail. That's why it's so important to get the full plan, even
Yeah.
if you're not buying all of the design at that moment. Even if some of the products are going to change, like maybe you're going to change it a little bit, but you're going to know this is the colors I want to work with. These are the, if
Exactly.
you're gonna buy restoration hardware stuff, or you buy Pottery Barn stuff, or online, you're gonna go to Amazon, whatever, you'll still know like this is kind of
Where
how
I
the
am.
designer envisioned this going, and you can make appropriate, because it's bigger than that. Designers will
Hmm.
give you a lot more attention to detail and how you function in the space, and how you really, really, truly enjoy the space. But if you get parts of it, if you can't afford the whole amount, it's still such a valuable thing for you to invest in,
It
because
it really
get
is.
a full plan, because then you know where you're going. It's like a map. It's
Exactly.
a map
I
to
was
the
gonna say that.
future,
Yeah, it is. It
you
really
know?
is. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I enjoyed talking to you, Niall. It's our time is up.
Likewise.
This has been so
Likewise.
fun.
As always.
And we're gonna do more of these. We love to have a guest. We were gonna have tons of guests. But we want to sprinkle in some just us chit-chatting about fun
Yeah.
things
All
too.
the things.
All
Yeah.
the fun things. Well, I hope you guys enjoy your weekend, and everyone have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.